When you think of leadership, one of the first images that comes to mind might be a soldier, disciplined, fearless, and ready to follow orders. The military has long been seen as the ultimate school of leadership. But here's a question that few dare to ask. Is every soldier truly a leader? The answer is more complex than it seems. Because while the military builds discipline and loyalty, true leadership isn't about obedience. It's about influence, responsibility, and the courage to think independently under pressure. And here's the paradox. Armies don't just need soldiers who follow orders. They need soldiers who can think, decide, and lead when no one is watching. In this video, we'll explore what makes a real leader inside and outside the battlefield, what business, education, and even families can learn from the military's greatest successes and its deepest mistakes. If you find this content meaningful, please subscribe to Inside Leadership. It helps this channel grow and allows us to keep producing lessons that build stronger, wiser, and more human leaders. Discipline is one of the foundations of military culture. Soldiers are trained to wake up early, follow protocol, and act without hesitation. To many, that looks like leadership, control, focus, and execution. But discipline alone doesn't make a leader. It makes a follower who performs well. A 2018 study from West Point revealed something striking. Cadets who scored highest in obedience and conformity were not necessarily the ones who became the most effective officers. The best leaders were those who learned when to question, adapt, and take initiative. In other words, leadership in uniform doesn't come from following the book. It comes from knowing when to close it. In combat, every second counts. A leader's hesitation can cost lives. That's why military training emphasizes following orders instantly. But history shows that blind obedience has also led to disaster. During World War I, thousands of soldiers followed impossible orders, charging machine guns with bayonets. They did exactly what they were told, and they died doing it. The system valued obedience over judgment. Contrast that with World War II, where leaders like General Dwight D. Eisenhower encouraged decentralized command, empowering officers in the field to make decisions. It wasn't about defiance. It was about trust. The result? More adaptive strategies, fewer mistakes, and a culture where leadership wasn't confined to rank. Real leadership isn't proven by how well you obey. It's revealed by how wisely you act when no one tells you what to do. Modern militaries learned a crucial lesson from history. If you want a strong army, train everyone to think like a leader. The U.S. Marine Corps, for example, teaches something called commander's intent. Instead of memorizing steps, soldiers learn the purpose behind every mission. That way, if plans fall apart, they can improvise without losing direction. This philosophy changed everything. It taught soldiers not to wait for permission to lead, but to use judgment, courage, and moral reasoning. And this is where leadership in business often fails. Many organizations operate like outdated armies. Lots of rules, few decisions. Employees follow orders, meet targets, and never question the mission. The result? Efficiency without innovation. Real leadership culture exists when people understand not just what to do, but why. There's a quiet kind of courage that's harder than facing danger. The courage to question authority for the sake of what's right. During the Vietnam War, some officers began challenging orders they believed were unethical. It wasn't rebellion, it was moral leadership. They understood that integrity means standing up even when obedience is easier. That same courage is what separates great corporate leaders from mediocre ones. The courage to say, this strategy might make money, but it destroys trust. The courage to protect people instead of numbers. Leadership is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to act with conscience despite it. In the military, leadership is often symbolized by rank. But rank gives authority, not respect. A uniform may command obedience, but it can't command trust. Trust is earned through consistency, fairness, and empathy, qualities that no medal can replace. Consider the example of General Colin Powell, who once said, "The day your soldiers stop bringing you their problems is the day you've stopped leading them." That insight captures the essence of leadership, being strong enough to invite vulnerability. In any organization, military or corporate, when people are too afraid to speak up, leadership has already failed. Obedience can protect order, but it can also destroy judgment. History is filled with tragedies where I was just following orders became an excuse for moral collapse. The Nuremberg trials after World War II exposed the devastating consequences of blind obedience. Soldiers and officers were held accountable for crimes they committed under command, proving that morality cannot be delegated. Leadership carries responsibility. When you lead, you own your actions, even when someone else gave the order. This principle is vital in business, too. Ethical leadership means refusing to hide behind corporate policy when something feels wrong. Great leaders don't follow the crowd. They follow their conscience. Despite the risks of blind obedience, the military has given the world some of the most effective leadership lessons ever created. From soldiers, civilian leaders can learn resilience, discipline, and commitment to mission. But they must also remember that leadership requires critical thinking, moral clarity, and adaptability, the very traits that separate command from leadership. The best leaders in business and society are those who blend military precision with human compassion, the strength to act, and the wisdom to care. The modern world no longer rewards command and control models. The new battlefield is uncertainty, and it demands adaptability, empathy, and trust. The military itself is evolving. Today's officers are taught emotional intelligence, mental health awareness, and inclusive leadership. Because modern warfare isn't just about force, it's about cooperation, technology, and understanding human complexity. Business leaders face the same evolution. The future belongs to those who don't just command people, but empower them. 3 reflections for today. Number 1, do I lead with authority or with trust? Number 2, when was the last time I questioned a decision not to rebel but to protect what's right? Number 3, am I creating followers or future leaders? So is every soldier a leader? Not automatically, but every soldier can become one, just as every person in any field can. Leadership isn't a title you receive, it's a mindset you develop. Obedience keeps systems alive, but courage, judgment, and empathy, those keep people alive. The best leaders aren't those who simply give or follow orders, but those who know when to think, when to listen, and when to act for something greater than themselves. If this video brought you value, please subscribe to Inside Leadership and share it with someone who's ready to grow as a leader. Together, we'll build a world where leadership means more than authority. It means humanity in action.